Shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45LC coming to you from the hot lead zone. And you know that Thorzax 777 has reported that he's having problems with his Lee auto drum powder measure because he's getting some chatter. And the chatter causes variations in the powder charge being thrown, throws off the accuracy of this measure. Well, that's an important finding on his part, and we've got to give due diligence to that. Now, I've had some good success with this measure, throwing accurate charges and a smooth operation, but I've recalled that when I've used this, I get a little click every once in a while, a little pop. He calls it a chatter. We could be talking about the same thing. And when I did my last video on the smoothness of this measure, I didn't get any of those pops or clicks, but I do recall getting them. So let's see if we can reproduce that. We have to be fair to Thorzax 777 because if we don't really look at this, we're liable to miss something that's very important. This is a new measure, and it's possible that all the glitches haven't been taken out of it. So here's a 38 casing that's already been resized, deprimed, and tumble cleaned. It was really grody, and the wet tumbling saved it. We've gone ahead and reprimed it and resized it, and you see that a bullet won't go in. So the next step would be to expand the neck, flare the mouth for the entry of the cast bullet, and put the powder charge in with that Lee auto drum powder measure. So here's tight wad powder in this measure. We're going to be loading 3.1 grains of tight wad powder with the 38 special and the 105 grain Lee semi-wad cutter that is 45, 45, 10 lubed. So let's go ahead and start running these in. We've got the measure adjusted, and it's been verified by the Dillon electronic scale. So here we go. These are resized cases. We'll run that into the measure. There it is engaged, and there's the action. Now this case is mouth flared and neck expanded and powder charged. There's the cast bullet started into the case, and it's very important that the flare be sufficient to allow this bullet to go in without shaving the lead. If you don't get that, you've got to adjust the die to give you the proper flare. Now, I've already done a video on doing just this load with all this equipment, including the Lee auto drum. But let's go ahead and run that again. Now notice the smooth operation of this powder measure. Aha, now you heard the little pop there. That's what I want to get, because that pop is what I was getting before that caused me to remember the pop. And probably Thorzax 777 calls that chatter. Now let's go ahead and measure that powder charge. We got 3.2, which is fine. 3.1 is where it's set. 3.1 to 3.2 is fine. But let's keep going. There's the case. Let's see if we get the pop this time. No pop. So let's go ahead and just put that into the loading block and do another one. We'll spot check at 10. No pop. No pop. This is allowed to get boring. Let's go right to 10 cases and then do a spot check on the weight of the charge. Okay, this one we got a pop. So let's see if that threw off the powder charge. Nope. 3.1 or 3.2 is fine. So this is what I reported to Thorzax 777, that when I got the little pop, it didn't throw off the charge. Okay, this one got a little pop. but it throws 3.2. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and run these cases all for you to see until you get the pop. No pop on that one. No pop on that one. A little pop on that one. But it measures at 3.2 exactly. Aha, there's a good pop. Now if that one is going to have an error, that pop will do it. Let me show you the scale. 3.2. Very uniform in the throw of the powder charge, even though we got a little pop. Let's see if we can give you another pop and measure it right. Okay, that was a little pop. But it's right on 3.2. No pop. No pop. Come on, let's get a pop. No pop. Ah, there's a good pop. Okay, now we're in business. Zero the scale, and then carefully pour all of it into the pen, like that. 3.2. So you see, even with a big pop, you get good, accurate measuring. For those of you who are curious as to whether I size these bullets or not, no, they cast right at 3.585. No sizing needed. Now, my first impression was that when the case went into the die here, that the stem rose up and the plastic part here transfers this linkage to move the rack and pinion gear that works the drum. But the little pop could be seen as a little shudder here, so I thought it was right in here. But Don C has pointed out that he actually took the drum out and I could actually see the rack and pinion gear mesh and mismesh. So that caused the pop or chatter, and that was observable. So this is actually the first collaboration video that we're doing here between Thorzak's 777 and Don C and myself on this powder measure to work out this particular glitch so that all of us that can use this can use it with confidence. Now it turns out that Thorzak 777 has already said that he has no problems loading other calibers like 9mm 45 ACP, and I'm not having any problems with 38 Special. So let's not bother with running more reloads through 45 ACP and 9mm, this kind of thing, because we don't want to make this video too long and bore you. I have other videos uploading those calibers, and this thing works fine, to the point where I really like this measure enough to want to get 3 of them. The third one's on its way. But let's go ahead and go right to 44 Magnum now and see if we can get the pop or the chatter to cause inaccurate throws. And if that's the case, what can we do to solve that? So here's for Scott Grizzly, who asked, can you use the Lee Auto Drum to load Magnum loads? And there's 22 grains of 2400 powder, the classic Elmer Keith Magnum load for the 44 Magnum. But the maximum is actually a little higher than that, so we're going to go ahead and use the Lee Auto Drum to load that, and talking at it doesn't help keep that steady. So first order of business, are we getting the pop? Let's see. No pop on that one. 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 Let's measure one of those. 22 grains exactly. We'll keep going. Uh-oh, we're not getting any pops. Thorax 777, we're not getting any pops. In fact, that measure is running smooth as silk. No pop, no chatter. It's running like glass, actually. Come on, let's get a pop. Checking the bullet entry into the flared case. Perfect. We'll check the powder throw on that one. 22.0. And check the last one. We'll show you that. 22.0. Now I have some bullets to pick up. Suppose we got a bad click, or as Thorax 777 says, a chatter. And then you go ahead and measure the powder charge and say you're getting 22.3 or 22.4, heaven forbid. Well, that's not acceptable. So what do? Do you send this powder measure back to Lee when it works fine for other calibers? And the answer is no. Here's what you do. The click or chatter is caused by the neck expansion and mouth flaring. That causes extra tension on this stem and on this linkage, and it causes the pinion and rack gear to mismesh, and you get the pop. Any pop could potentially cause an erroneous throw. Well, if you take the same case and you run it through there again, there's no expansion or flaring being done, and what you'll get is, instead of the pop on the second run through, you'll get a very smooth action. What you do is, if you get a click or pop, just simply take that case out, dump the powder charge back in the hopper or into a separate container off to the side, put the case back in, immediately run the press again, and you will get a accurate powder throw, because there's no click or pop on the second pass through. And you'll find that when you measure the powder charge, it'll be right on, because you got the smooth action. Anytime you got a smooth action, this measure is very accurate. You get a pop or click, it may be inaccurate, you gotta check it, and if you check it and find that it's unacceptable, run that case through again, you'll get a perfect charge. If you get a click or pop on every case, then the best thing to do, and Thorax 777 has already found this to be the case, then simply run the cases through your die one time to mouth flare and neck expand them, and then run them through again with the powder measure, and you'll get accurate powder charges every time with those smooth throws. Plus, you can always check to make sure that you've got no cases that receive no powder and no double charges. In my own case, loading 44 Magnum, there were no cases that had the click at all or chatter. I can't explain that, because Thorax 777 got the click. We got a little minor click doing 38 special a little while ago, but again, that wasn't a problem. And if we did the dump the powder and do a second pass through the powder measure, that would have solved that. So, shooters and reloaders out there, I'm glad to report that this works very well. We need to know our powder measures. Operator use of a powder measure is essential to the success of the use of any powder measure. So there you go. I'm glad I got 3 of these, and the third one's on its way. I'm going to use a lot of these, now that we know there's a limitation there with it, but it's easily solvable. Bye for now.